a story changed the world, especially yours. Few can speak with authority on this. Like Jim Gilbert, he is Canada's huggable car dealer 15 years ago. Without any knowledge of what was about to happen, he started telling a different story. You started telling a different story, Jim, as opposed to everybody else in the car industry here in Atlantic Canada. Do you remember when those first ads hit the airwaves talking about Canada's huggable car dealer? You were the Casanova of customer focus, the Romeo of roadsters, the McDreamy of drive. Take us back to what it was like 15 years ago when you actually just started telling a completely different story.
Well, Gare, we was really like every other car dealer. And then we went and we knew there was only 4 tires and a piece of tin. We had to be different. And what, how are you different? And we did. We met up with Wizard of Ads, Ray Sagarin, came up with a great thing. We talked about it, and he asked me what I thought I was, and I said, well, I like looking after customers. And he said, so you think you're the huggable car dealer? And I said, that's what I want to be, the huggable car dealer. So we went with it, and we lived with it, and we grew it. And the ads, we did the ads. I was the first of it. Ads on the radio. Back then, radio was great. And within weeks, Gare, weeks, our ads were different. It was completely different. Our ads were telling a story, not about cars, just about the Casanova Drive, the McDreamy.
It was said you could drive by here and get your daily dose of Hugtonium, designed to improve your love affair with your car and your libido, of all things.
And there it was. And within weeks, I talked about Walt Disney when he built Epcot Center. He never saw it, because he died first. And his brother Roy said, Walt saw it first. Well, I can actually say we felt it. We felt the ads. We felt the huggable car dealer.
Let's talk about that, because I know very early on you were shocked. You had strangers at grocery lineups, at hockey games, coffee shops, coming up to you.
We've run ads before. We've done, everybody had done stuff. In 30 days, they're stopping me in the mall. Give them a hug. Hey, Jim, you're going to give me a hug today. I'm sitting at Starbucks in the Fredericton Mall, and a young fella comes up, and he says, can I have a hug? And I give him a hug. And he runs back to his dad, and I'm watching all this. His dad passes him $5. And his dad hollers over, I bet my young son bet me $5 that you would hug him, and I said you wouldn't, and Jim, you did. I'm glad to give him the $5. But it took off. People, we had an anchor, and people were calling us the huggable guy. We was being asked to do stuff because we finally had something to hook our business onto. This was us. We became the huggable. Everything we do, like Ray said, everything you do now has to there's the huggable ad, I guess, was Donna.
Yeah, well, actually, the truth of the matter is, your wife, Donna, who's been in the business trenches with you from day one, she had this brilliant idea, and I was there to hear it. You can't just talk about being the huggable car dealer in your marketing. You actually had to be the thing.
The huggable car dealer.
Let's talk about that, the difference between talking about doing something and actually doing it.
And that happened really fast, because in the first month or 2 months of these ads, it changed how people looked at us. It changed, I wasn't just another used car dealer. I just wasn't that guy. I became a different guy, a guy that people started liking and people wanted to talk to and stop me in the streets of Fredericton. But Donna knew it had to be more than this. The story had to start building on itself. So Donna came up with the bears. She said, we got to get bears. And that my wife Donna, she goes to the dollar store in Fredericton, and she buys them little $1 bears. And she came up with the bear idea because bears hug. Everybody got the bear and hug, right? And the hug means something different to everybody, but the bear was symbolic of the hug, I think, in our society. And she drove 100 kilometers away, 60 miles to another city, St. John, went to them dollar stores, bought all them dollar stores, drove on up to Moncton, 120 miles, 200 kilometers, bought all the little bears up there. And Donna would actually go around all the bears in our province and all the dollar stores and buy them little bears, and we would hang them in the car windows and give them away. And it started making the ads real, like it became a real thing. We really were huggable. We were given something, and people were happy. These little dollar store bears, which we didn't have much money. That was a lot of money. We had to give thousands of them away, and it just kept growing. And it was like building a cathedral. There was one bear at a time. We kept adding on to the story and on to the story. And the bears got bigger, and then we got the bigger bears out of the
superstore.
The superstore, and Donna buys all the bears the red sweaters, and she goes to. It was out of Christmas. She goes to Moncton, St. John, buys all them bears, and our bears kept moving up in size.
You know, this story has mushroomed over 15 years. Help our viewers understand how big this story has become when you look back at how it started.
Anytime you start something, you really don't know the end, especially if you're an entrepreneur. You're just continuously moving and moving and going. The story, we're a small used car dealer selling 20, 25 cars a month. And we mushroom into a 60 car a month used car dealer within 3 or 4 months. And then the story keeps growing. But actually, the story even starts attracting great staff members, team members, because people wanted to, not only do they want to buy from you, but they want to work with you. So the story just we was expanding the story. We was finding, new things become involved in the community, and it's become a never-ending story. And the most amazing thing is the story, as our business grew and our quality of cars upgraded and our size of our buildings got bigger, the story stayed with it. We had the ground, the story kept growing with it. It's been a really, really good ride with our story.
And you talk about community, and I think one of the things that's got to make you so proud as an entrepreneur, as a leader, as a father, is that you've got a daughter and a daughter-in-law who took the story and ran with it when COVID was a real issue in Fredericton and surrounding areas. Because I think it's worth you talking about what this means in terms of keeping it alive and bringing it into the future.
Well, this is our 15th year huggable. So we're in the 15th year. COVID would have been the 14th year. And as you can look at me in the video, I'm getting older. I'm transitioning out. My children are taking over. The biggest fear of any business movement to another owner or family is, are they going to keep it going the way that you built it? Well, the huggable gave us a grounding point. Like we have an anchor. The huggable's an anchor. So my daughter and daughter-in-law, without nothing to do, I'm not even involved, and they tell me one day, it was last year when COVID hit and the kids in New Brunswick were going back to school under certain conditions. People couldn't go into buildings, only kids. Everybody knows that part. But also it impacted a lot of kids in their ability. The hot lunch programs were canceled. The school snack programs were canceled. Just about anything, like you couldn't raise money, you couldn't give. It really, it's been quite a trying time. So Chelsea, actually both my daughter and my daughter-in-law is named Chelsea, one with a Y, one with an A, don't get them wrong. There won't be no huggable there. On their own, they had an initiative. It's called the Huggable Snack Initiative. And every week, they went to 2 schools in our school districts, and we have 2 French and English school districts, and they went to both districts, a lot of schools, 30, 40 schools, and every week they went to 2 schools and delivered enough snacks for all the kids in that school. And they did that every week, through the whole COVID deal. And I was really proud of that, Gare, because you're wondering, as they're taking over, what are they going to do? Well, they showed me. They knew how to take the huggable to another level, and they're going to be involved. And when you're passing a business, but it's not the business. The business is cars and tin and metal and motorcycles. It's what we do as a business that really makes it a business.
I think it's worth explaining hug as the metaphor. It's not necessarily the physical hug, it's what it represents. Can you share what you've learned about how it means symbolically so much more?
Well, the hug means something different to everybody, but fortunately means something positive to everybody. So in the last we couldn't hug. We're in COVID. We can't hug. We can now in New Brunswick. We are allowed to be in this close, and it's what you do and what you represent and how you have your people represent you, and how people see you. It's like, what does the business stand for? What is the business? And the hug means so much to so many people, but it's something they can carry on. It's something people look at us and say, there's Huggable Car Dealer. I've heard good things about them. So it actually makes you operate at a higher level and a better level and a more community-minded level. And it's really been an exciting ride. It's really been an exciting time.
This story of this otherwise ordinary used car dealership in Fredericton, New Brunswick became the extraordinary inspiration for Big Little Legends. It's in chapter 2, the entire story. But Jim, when you reflect on 15 years of being the Huggable Car Dealer, now the Huggable Car and Power Sports Dealer, when you reflect on the legacy, how would you explain it to everyone? What have you learned? What does this mean?
Well, to me, it's anybody can leave a business for somebody else. Anybody can leave somebody else. I left a happening for my family, and they're moving on. Like, they're moving it forward, and to watch them take the Huggable concept and grow. And Gare, this Huggable concept, we proved this. It transforms into more than just what you're doing. So we're one of the top car dealers. We built up into a nice, as you can see behind us, a great car dealership, and we have a lot of 75-80% returning customers and all that. 4 years ago, we take on a Kawasaki Power Sports franchise. It's selling 42 Kawasaki's a year in this city. Within 3 years, we take it to 520. Well, it's a bike. Nothing changed on the product. It was the perception of the new Kawasaki dealer and how they're going to hug their customer, and that was able to catapult that. So it is able to keep growing, and it can change product, but the basics, the hug, be good to your customers like you like them, your family's involved, your staff's happy coming to work. They just feel different.
And that's really the investment, in your opinion. I know we've talked about this. It's investing in the brand. You keep getting a return, and it keeps growing year after year after year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have something to invest in, and the hug is the brand. And you have something to grow. You have something to pass on. You have something to watch your family grow. You have something to watch your team be proud of. It's been an exciting 15 years, and we're looking forward to another 15 years.
So as we talked about, one story can change the world. It's impacted so many lives, not only Jim Gilbert and his family, but the entire team here at Canada's Huggable Car Dealer. The business results have been nothing short of phenomenal.
Phenomenal.
And Jim, we are so honored to have met you, to have known you, to have worked with you, and to be a part of this incredible success story. All we can do is wish you continued success, and thanks so much for doing this.
And have a huggable day.
And don't forget, if you try to be everything to everyone, you wind up being nobody to everybody and anyone. On that note, thanks again for watching Leaders and Legends, where you never know who you're going to meet or what you'll discover.